If you have over $200,000 sitting stagnant in your bank, retirement account, or home equity, then you're literally losing money. On this show, you learn how to get that money working for you consistently and conservatively. Learn to grow your nest egg with your host, Shawn Winslow. Let's dive in.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Shawn Winslow, and this is the Multifamily Money Podcast. Welcome back to another Finance Friday episode. This is where every Friday we'll give you tips and tricks on how to get your money working for you, smarter, stronger. And as we all know, it's not what you make, but what you keep. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about what to really focus on, like what's important. You'll see all these quote unquote finance gurus out there on YouTube, on podcasts, on social media saying, don't buy coffee at Starbucks. Don't go get, a burrito or burrito bowl at your Chipotle. Don't get lunch every day at work and all these things. And to an extent, I get it. It all depends on your situation, right? Maybe you are struggling paycheck to paycheck and you do cut back on some things. That's very true in those cases, but we're generally there coming from. This is not aimed at that person. They're generally aiming this at the everyday person where they're saying, don't spend your money on that, pinch pennies, count pennies, and invest for your future. And to me, that is just so misguided. And that's what I want to talk about today. The 20-cent coffee, right? Make your coffee at home. As I sip my homemade coffee right here. Don't get me wrong. I do love coffee and I love making it at home. There's nothing like a fresh brewed pot of coffee that you made yourself. But at the end of the day, should this be what you're focusing your energy on to grow true wealth? I don't think so. So let's just take a look here. The average cup of coffee in the US is $2.70. And now kind of the buzz term out there when it comes to coffee is 20-cent coffee. You'll see it on YouTube and in other places on social media where they say, make coffee at home and on average it'll cost you 20 cents. So let's just jump right into it and look at the math here. The difference between obviously buying coffee at your Starbucks, or for my fellow New Englanders, your Dunkin', versus making a coffee at home is $2.50, right? So you get your $2.70 minus that 20 cents. So you get $2.50. Now, say you were to buy one cup of coffee a day at that Starbucks or that Dunkin' for 5 days a week, every week. You do it during the work week, right? So that's $12.50 a week, $54.16 a month, and $650 a year. And now say your career was spanned 30 years. So you did that for 30 years. That total would be $19,500. Now we're talking about under $20,000. You took all that energy, right? All that work of making coffee at home every single day, not living a more stress-free life where you can focus on what's, maybe your next meeting, a project you have at work or in your business, networking, which ultimately just leads to increasing your income, all to save $19,500 over 30 years. This is not per year. This is over 30 years. Right? Is that worth it to you? I know it's not for me, because if we look at, inflation historically, especially currently right now, we see that gas is up, 50%. I think used cars are somewhere between 35 to 40%. Some clothing items, 20%, rent, 15 plus percent. And then don't even get me started on college tuition. If you look back since like the 1970s, college is up over 1,200, so 1,200%, right? Housing's up over 800% same time period. And then on average, rent has increased 8.86% per year. generally you don't get that, increase on a renewal. Some you may, right? Especially in today's market, you might even see more. But you're definitely seeing that when they're turning a unit and getting a new tenant in. And historically, wages have, inflation adjusted, have really pretty much remained flat over that same time period. So is it really worth, putting all the effort in just to save, $2.50 a cup of coffee, which amounts to $19,500 over 30 years? For me, no. But then those same quote unquote finance gurus will come back at you and say, yeah, well, if you had taken that, that difference on what you would have spent, so that $2.50, and invested it, in an index that averaged 7% per year, compounding over that 30-year period, you'd have a great amount of money. So let's do that calculation. I already did it. And so if you put that money in every month, so which is $54.16 a month, every month over that 30-year period, and it compounded at 7%. That's generally the average. They say, 6 to 8% you can get, in the market, tracking the index. You would have $68,858.29. So $68,000 over 30 years if you had invested it. That's for some people, that's a lot of money, right? It could make a difference, but is it really worth that effort? Like focusing your effort and not even just the effort, but that mindset, but having your mindset fixated on something like that. Is it really worth it for $68,000 over 30 years? And then if we take into account inflation, which we're all seeing right now, what is that actually in future dollars worth? Like, what could it buy you? So if we looked at this over, let's say that same 30-year period, what would that 68K be worth if the average inflation, was 3%, which on average is 2 to 3%. So let's just call it, more recently it's been that 3%. So let's say 3% over that time period, that $68,000 would be worth in 2052 would be worth $27,514. It's less than half, significantly less than half. Yay, you can go buy in today's dollars, you could buy probably like a mid-level sedan, right? Like a Camry, and Accord, something like that. But who knows what you could buy in the future, because there'll probably be more expensive than that. Now, let's say over that 30-year period, we had some strong inflation, which brought the average up like we're experiencing now. Let's say that average was 5% over that 30-year period. That same 68K would have purchasing power of $14,727. Again, is it really worth like having your mindset fixated on, I'm not gonna go buy a coffee at the coffee shop. Instead, I'm gonna make it at home, for 20 cents, and I'll save $2.50. Or I'm going to bring a peanut butter and jelly in every single day and eat that for lunch, and not occasionally go out and network with some, coworkers, colleagues. Is it really worth that? To me, heck no. Focus that energy and correct your mindset. So you're thinking, how can I increase my income? How can I get a promotion at my job? Maybe how can I start a business, or, increase sales in my current business? How can I create alternative streams of income? And if you were to really focus on that, say for the next 5 years, I know you can do it. And I know you'd be able to increase your disposable income to the point where you had an extra $1,000 a week to invest. If you really focused for 5 years, I know every single one of you listening could do that. And to be honest, I don't like to use a lot of, big numbers sometimes, or big picture, because it can scare people away. But honestly, you'd have more than $1,000 a week if you really focused for 5 years. I mean, that was your main priority. you really focused, you'd be able to achieve that. So let's take a look. Let's look at the math in this scenario. If you had an extra $1,000 a week to invest, that averages to about $4,333. Repeating, of course. Some of you will get that joke. $4,333 a month that you would have to invest. And now, again, I said maybe it'll take you 5 years to create that. So instead of having a 30-year time investment horizon like we did in the previous scenario, you only have 25 years. All right. So over 25 years, if you were to invest that $4,333 a month, compounding at the same average 7% in some type of index fund or some type of maybe, real estate syndication that averages, 7% for that 25 years, guess what it would be worth? $3,416,437.54. That's a heck of a lot different than $68,000. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, it's not about necessarily like saving the money from not buying the coffee. It's about fixing your mindset so you're not focused on the small things and you're focused on the bigger picture that will actually make a difference in your life. And ultimately, it'll allow you to live a happier life, less stressed life, a stress-free life, right? That's what we're all, I think, looking for is, being able to just have that life where we can do, again, I say this a lot, but what we want, when we want, with who we want. And I would never say stress would be completely eliminated. That'll never happen. But at least the stress from the little things, you shouldn't stress yourself out like, oh, should I really go get this, cup of coffee at the cafe or should I make it at home? Like, what's the point of stressing out over that? It's not going to get you anywhere, at least not anywhere you want to be. Focus on the bigger things that can actually make a difference in your life, which will then ultimately make a difference in others' lives. Because I know those that are listening are probably like me, and they don't just want to make wealth and build wealth for themselves. They want to build it for others, their family, their friends, and then ultimately the community at large, to give back, make this place a better place to live. So my main message today is look on the bigger picture. Always look at the bigger picture and how you can improve that top line, which will ultimately improve your bottom line and all those around you. All right, everybody. I hope you got value from today's episode as I drink my 20-cent coffee right now. Nothing like it. But yeah, I hope you got value today. And if you did, please share with someone who also could get value. And as always, it's not what you make, it's what you keep, so we can make this world a better place. All right, everybody, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.
Hey, this is Shawn Winslow. After being in the financial service industry for years and having candid conversations with good people just like you, I realized that so many of us are wanting an investment strategy that provides solid returns and consistent income without the bumps in the road. There's little known secret that your financial advisor doesn't want you to know. There is investment out there that is less volatile and the returns are stronger. Get more details by going to greenbriercg.com and clicking on the free e-report. And by the way, if this show has provided you any value, then feel free to leave an honest written review and of course share it with a friend who needs it. See you next week for another great show.